Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and our title today is Starbucks wants you to buy something. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. That's a far cry from the pleasant upscale environment that Starbucks hopes to create. Okay, so as you can see, I've highlighted a far cry from. So we use a far cry from to express an extreme difference. So, a far cry from은 극단적인 차이를 표현할 때 사용합니다. So, really different is basically what we're saying. Very, very, very different. So, our example says, Pat found that army life was a far cry from the exciting adventure that his recruiter had described. So, Pat은 군 생활이 모집 담당자가 설명했던 신나는 모험과는 전혀 다르다는 것을 알게 되었다. So, the recruiter said to Pat, the army life was really exciting. However, in reality, it was a far cry from exciting. It was maybe very scary. It was very hard. It was very difficult. It was very different. So, next example. Andrew's tiny apartment in the city was a far cry from the spacious house where he grew up. Andrew의 작은 도시 아파트는 그가 자란 넓은 집과는 전혀 다르다. So, Andrew's tiny apartment in the city was very different from the big house from where he grew up, is basically what we're saying. So, a far cry from is like saying very different from. Alright, 2번. People accompanying a paying customer can still get a free water, but that's about it. Okay, so I've highlighted that's about it. So use that's about it to express an approximate limit. It is similar in meaning to not much more. Okay, so that's about it. 대략적인 한계를 표현할 때 사용하는 표현입니다. 이는 not much more, 더 이상 많지 않다와 유사한 의미를 가집니다. So I would say that's about it is more useful than not much more, in my opinion, but everyone speaks differently. Okay, so an example sentence would be, I know how to say hello and goodbye in Tagalog, but that's about it. So, 나는 Tagalog으로 안녕하세요, well, whatever hello is in Tagalog. I don't know how to say hello in Tagalog. 와, goodbye, 안녕히 가세요를 말할 줄 알지만 그게 다예요. So, whatever hello and goodbye in Tagalog is, I don't know. That's about it. I have some instant noodles and a can of tuna, and that's about it. 나는 인스턴트 라면과 참치 통조림이 좀 있고 그게 다야. In my house, I only have ramen and 참치. So there's nothing else in my house. Alright, now let's look at the language focus quiz. 1번. Was a far cry from the fun time I expected. So remember, a far cry from was something that's very different from something else. So, example. The party was a far cry from the fun time I expected. 그 파티는 내가 기대했던 즐거운 시간과는 거리가 멀었다. So remember, I thought the party was going to be fun. 그 파티는 재미인 줄 알았는데 재미없었어요. So it's a far cry from what I expected. 2번. Life in is far from Let's say life in the country is far from life in the city. So, 시골에서의 삶은 도시에서의 삶과는 거리가 멀다. So, it's so different. Like living in the country and living in the city is very, very different. Okay, 3번. Can, but that's about it. So remember, use that's about it to express approximate or an limit. It is similar meaning to not much more. So that's about it. 대략적인 한계를 표현할 때 사용하는 표현입니다. So let's say I can cook pasta, but that's about it. 나는 파스타를 요리할 수 있지만 그게 전부야. 4번 has and that's about it. Let's say he has about $500 and that's about it. 그는 약 $500를 가지고 있고 그게 전부야. Alright, now let's look at the further discussion. 1번. What do you think is the main reason for Starbucks declining sales in the US? Is the chain having the same problems in your country? 스타벅스의 미국 내 매출 감소의 주요 원인은 무엇이라고 생각하나요? 당신의 나라에서도 같은 문제가 발생하고 있나요? I have really zero idea about this. Why they're declining sales in the US. I'm not really into the economics of Starbucks, but I know that in this is what I heard recently, that you know how there are so many Starbucks within the same area as each other in Seoul. I hear that they are willing to, example, if you go into Gangnam, there's one area that has like 4 Starbucks in the one area, and they actually don't mind losing money on one of the Starbucks because they're still making money off the other Starbucks. So they're okay with losing money at a certain Starbucks as long as they're still making money at the other Starbucks. That's what I heard. It's hard to explain, but it's basically they're saturating the area and they're okay with losing money from one of the stores just as long as the other stores are making money. So I think that in Korea, they're doing so well, Starbucks is doing so well that it is, eventually going to take over all the chains. I mean, when's the last time you saw an Angelina's or a Tom and Tom's or you still see Coffee Bean everywhere, but Cafe Bene, when's the last time you saw Cafe Bene? Starbucks is doing so well in Korea that it is absolutely wiping out the competition when it comes to chain cafes here in Korea. 2번. How have consumer habits related to places like coffee shops changed in recent years? 최근 몇 년 동안 커피숍과 같은 장소와 관련된 소비자 습관은 어떻게 변화했나요? Consumer habits related to places like coffee shops. I guess with certain coffee shops, people have been more interested in a variety of drinks rather than just concentrating on coffee. Saying that as well, there have been a lot of coffee shops, not chains, but like independent coffee shops who are specializing in unique coffee beans. So if you go into like the kind of maybe Rodeo Drive area of Seoul, or even just anywhere in Seoul, or maybe like Seongsu-dong, they have like these sort of unique cafes that like will have a special coffee bean, or they they specialize in coffee. So you'll have two ends of the spectrum. One is like coffee chains that will supply a variety of different beverages, not just coffee, but like certain lattes, certain beverages or whatever. And then you'll have the smaller cafes that want to specialize in just the coffee itself. I think that consumers have there are two kinds of consumers who are attracted to both of those things. So I think that's how they've changed in recent years. Yeah, that's what I think, to be honest with you, because I am a coffee consumer and I find myself in between both of those. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a person who really cares too much about like coffee bean, but I do like a nice cup of coffee here and there. And yeah, I would say that that's what I've noticed. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's class, and I'll see you on the next class.
Racially profile.
Racially profile.
Sketchy.
Sketchy.
Upscale.
Upscale.
Accompany.
Accompany.
Loiterer.
Loiterer.
Bouncer.
Bouncer.